Success is not attracted to noise. It does not respond to constant announcements, public declarations, or the need to be seen. Success is drawn to discipline, to structure, to individuals who understand that what is built in silence carries a weight that noise can never replicate. Failure, on the other hand, is loud. It seeks validation before achievement. It desires recognition without process. It wants applause for intention instead of results. And that is why it remains where it is, visible but empty. When a person truly understands purpose, they begin to value privacy. Not secrecy out of fear, but silence out of wisdom. Because anything that is constantly exposed is easily disrupted. Every vision requires a period where it is protected, where it is nurtured away from opinions, doubts, and unnecessary interference. You do not plant a seed and dig it up every day to show people your progress. You plant it, you water it, and you allow time to do its work. Growth is invisible before it becomes undeniable. The problem with many people is not lack of ambition. It is the addiction to attention. They feel the need to speak before they build, to announce before they execute, to explain before they achieve. And in doing so, they lose energy that should have been invested into action. Silence is not weakness. Silence is focus under control. It is the ability to withhold distraction and direct energy toward what truly matters. When you are silent, you observe more. When you observe more, you understand more. And when you understand more, you execute better. There is a difference between being active and being productive. Noise creates the illusion of movement, but silence produces measurable progress. Talking about plans does not make them real. Only disciplined action does. Your environment will try to pull you into unnecessary conversations, distractions, and comparisons. But every moment spent explaining yourself is a moment taken away from building yourself. You must learn to protect your time as if it were your most valuable asset, because it is the greatest transformations happen quietly. Strength is developed in private. Skill is refined in isolation. Character is built when no one is watching. And when the results finally appear, they speak with a volume that requires no amplification. If you study those who truly achieve, you will notice a pattern. They are not constantly visible. They are not always explaining their next move. They are working. They are refining. They are building something that will eventually make noise on its own. Do not confuse visibility with value. Not everything that is seen is significant, and not everything significant is seen in its early stages. Silence gives you clarity. It removes the pressure to perform for others and allows you to perform for purpose. It eliminates distraction and strengthens direction. It keeps your strategy intact until it is strong enough to stand on its own. And when that moment comes, when preparation meets opportunity, your results will speak in a way that explanations never could. Silence is not absence. It is preparation. It is not emptiness, nor is it a lack of movement. It is the invisible phase where everything meaningful begins to take shape. What appears quiet on the outside is often intensely active on the inside. Just because something is not being announced does not mean it is not being built. In fact, the most important work rarely makes noise in its early stages. Silence creates space. It removes the clutter of opinions, the pressure of expectations, and the distraction of unnecessary validation. In that space, clarity is formed. When you are not constantly speaking, explaining, or reacting, your mind gains the ability to think deeper, to analyze better, and to make decisions that are aligned with purpose rather than emotion. Noise forces reaction, but silence allows intention. Preparation requires focus, and focus demands separation. You cannot build something significant while constantly exposing it to interruption. Every time you share your plans prematurely, you invite doubt, criticism, and sometimes even discouragement. Not everyone who listens understands, and not everyone who understands supports. Silence protects your vision from being weakened before it is strong enough to stand. There is a discipline in withholding expression. It is easy to talk about goals, to describe ambitions, to paint pictures of what you intend to do. It feels productive, but it often replaces the actual work. Silence removes that illusion. It forces you to confront the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Without the comfort of talking, you are left with only one option: execution. In silence, habits are formed, skills are sharpened, weaknesses are exposed and corrected. This is where repetition takes place, where consistency is built, where small improvements accumulate into significant progress. None of this requires attention. None of it needs an audience. It only requires commitment. Silence also strengthens resilience. When you are not dependent on external recognition, you become internally driven. You learn to continue even when no one is watching, even when no one is applauding, even when progress feels slow. This kind of strength cannot be developed in noise. It is cultivated in moments where you choose to keep going without needing to be seen. Time behaves differently in silence. It is not wasted on explanation or performance. It is invested. Every quiet hour becomes a building block. Every focused moment adds to something that will eventually become visible. What others may overlook as inactivity is actually accumulation. There is also a level of control that comes with silence. You decide when to reveal, when to act, and when to move. You are not pressured by timelines imposed by others. You are not influenced by comparison. You operate based on readiness, not urgency. This allows your work to mature fully before it is exposed. Silence refines intention. It forces you to question why you are doing what you are doing. Without the distraction of attention, your motives become clearer. You begin to act not for recognition, but for results. And when your actions are rooted in purpose rather than approval, the outcome carries more weight. What is prepared in silence carries depth. It is not rushed, it is not fragile, and it is not dependent on external support. It has been tested privately, strengthened quietly, and developed with patience. By the time it becomes visible, it does not need explanation. It speaks for itself. Silence is where transformation happens without interruption. It is where raw ideas become structured plans, where plans become disciplined action, and where action becomes tangible results. It is not absence. It is controlled, intentional, and focused preparation for something that is meant to last. Vision grows best in protected environments, not because it is weak, but because it is still forming. In its early stages, vision is sensitive. It is an idea that has not yet been tested, a direction that has not yet been proven, a possibility that still requires structure. Exposing it too early to noise, doubt, and unnecessary opinions can distort it before it has the chance to develop clarity. Protection is not about hiding out of fear. It is about preserving focus. When a vision is new, it needs time to mature without interruption. Just like a seed beneath the soil, its growth is happening, but it is not yet visible. If you keep digging it up to show others, you interrupt the very process that would allow it to grow. What you protect, you give the opportunity to strengthen. Every vision requires a period of isolation. This is where ideas are refined, where plans are tested, where weaknesses are identified and corrected. In a protected environment, you can think freely without the pressure to impress. You can make mistakes without public judgment. You can adjust your direction without having to explain every change. This freedom is essential for growth. When you expose your vision too early, you invite multiple voices into a space that requires singular focus. Some people will doubt it, not because it lacks value, but because they cannot see what you see. Others may support it, but their understanding is still limited. Both reactions can influence you in ways that shift your direction away from your original purpose. Protection ensures that your vision is shaped by conviction, not by external noise. There is also an energy cost to sharing prematurely. Every time you explain your vision, you spend mental and emotional energy. Over time, this reduces the energy available for execution. Talking can create the illusion of progress, but it does not replace action. A protected environment keeps your energy direct toward building, not broadcasting. Clarity develops in quiet spaces. When you are not constantly reacting to feedback, you begin to understand your vision at a deeper level. You see its structure, its requirements, and its potential impact. You move from excitement to strategy. This shift is what transforms an idea into something executable. Protection also builds confidence, not the kind that comes from approval, but the kind that comes from preparation. When you spend time developing your vision privately, you become more certain about it. You are no longer easily shaken by doubt because you have already tested it in silence. You have seen it evolve. You have worked through its challenges, and you understand it beyond surface level. Timing becomes critical. There is a moment when a vision is no longer fragile, when it has been developed enough to withstand exposure. At that point, sharing becomes powerful because it is supported by substance. Before that moment, exposure is risk. After that moment, exposure is impact. A protected environment allows consistency to take root. Without constant distraction, you can return to your vision daily, refine it, and move it forward. Progress becomes steady rather than scattered. You are not starting over each time because you are not constantly shifting direction based on outside influence. What grows in protection develops depth. It is not rushed, it is not shallow, and it is not dependent on immediate validation. It has been given time to evolve into something solid, and when it finally becomes visible, it carries a level of strength that could not have been achieved in constant exposure. Vision is not just about seeing something different, it is about building something real, and anything real requires a foundation. Protected environments provide that foundation. They create the conditions where focus is uninterrupted, where growth is consistent, and where purpose is not diluted. In that space, vision does not just survive. It develops into something that can endure. The difference will always be clear. Those who chased attention will have stories to tell but little to show. Those who chose silence, discipline, and focused execution will have results that speak long after words have